Hello, future millionaires, and welcome back to the Get Rich Slow podcast. We're your hosts, Adrian Shermer, Rob Delavan, and Lance Johnson. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
You can find us online at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, YouTube, and Stitcher. Today, we have our special guest. This is part 3 in a 3-part series, talking to Barry Mack with Barrymackart.
Yeah, and I just want to take a moment. It's been fun. We've been having a blast. It just seems like we're just connecting. We got
I've enjoyed it a lot. Good morning,
styles on wardrobe. It's been awesome.
guys. Yep. Great to hear. I'm really excited about it.
Enjoy
Yeah,
the visuals.
If you haven't had a chance, definitely listen to episodes 1 and 2. This is a 3-part series. I highly encourage you to. Barry, it's been a blast getting to know you. How are you enjoying this so far?
Oh, I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. Yeah, the synergy here is, I think, it's been amazing. And the exploration of the topics has been really cool. Really fun. Thank you for having me.
You brought such a cool shirt last time. I didn't know if you were going to be able to outdo yourself, but you have. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I love it.
Keep it creative.
Good stuff.
Today we're looking ahead at what is to come for Barry and Barrymackart as in its entirety. So let's kick it off, guys.
Yeah, we're looking forward to this.
I'm looking forward to it too. Let's get into it.
Well, I think I'll kick it off then. When you think about our future, yours, ours, Rob's, everybody's, your family's, what gets you the most excited?
The thing that gets me the most excited, of course, remember, I'm an artist and kind of a dreamer. I like to think of the world becoming a little more unified, a little less divisiveness, people coming together more. And that's my vision for us. And I think we can all relate to that, right? It's been pretty intense the last few years.
Yeah.
And when I think about that, that gets me excited. I believe it's possible. And I want to contribute to that. And on a personal note, that's what gets me the most excited about my own work, is somehow contributing to that. Producing work that somehow creates a common language, brings people together in some way. I want to feel like I'm making a difference and I'm contributing.
What's interesting is for our viewing audience again, is you said that dreamer concept, and Lance was, pointing straight up over his right shoulder. What we see is his left shoulder, I guess. And that dream concept, that's huge. I mean, future, that's what our future is made of. And then there's the, how do you turn those dreams into realities through goal setting and, all of the different pieces, which isn't necessarily our core topic today. But you're pushing for something. So I guess my follow-up question to that, Barry, is what, is there that vision? You said, pulling people together, different things, there's a vision there. There's a reason for that. So, can you extract or share some more there?
Well, it's really my inherent optimism. And again, this is debatable, but I actually believe, in spite of how everything looks, that people are communicating more. There's more empathy, there's more communication going on with online news and stuff like that. Whether it's fake or not, who knows? But, I think we are coming together. And I do see a future where things get better for us, that there's less divisiveness. It's a vision.
That would be a really good poll to see if our audience sees that a better future or a worse future. I mean, it'd be interesting. That's an interesting topic. Like someday we should have kind of like 9 people on this podcast and we have topics like that.
Yeah. Well, just for fun, where do you guys weigh in? Tell me what you think. Are things getting better or worse?
That's an interesting one. I think my caveat to that is it depends on the topic.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I
don't think, and not to get political, I don't think the way the election went down and the repercussions of everything that happened, there's some obvious processes that need to be fixed in order to create a fairness. And, and then when you think about people's wealth and financial, well, geez, compared to 08, people have higher values of net worth and less debt, and their incomes are higher. So I agree with Rob. I think there's a lot of topics that you could apply that question to.
I agree.
And the piece of that is there's a lot of things you could say, yeah, they're getting better. A lot of things, maybe not. The one thing that I think most people can agree on is like, especially like the technology. And I mean, there's an evolution happening. The fact that we can do a podcast today, we touched on it actually on the last episode, is, my kids can watch sheep being sheared instead of, a stupid cartoon with a coyote getting run over, on a freeway. So like, there's definitely an evolution happening. The question becomes is, where's the opportunity for better? Right.
Yeah.
And then you got to define better. And I don't know. I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole.
Well,
with you guys.
no, I think we're digressing a little bit, but let me reframe the question. Are you guys optimistic about the future? Let me put that.
I am. I'm a hardcore optimist. I think the pros outweigh the cons. I think the world is moving in a better direction. It's a safer place. It's a cleaner place in some respects. And even the people who are upset, a lot of people are upset for the right reasons. We're upset about things that matter. And these things existed before we had the world of the internet to bring them into the light. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe some of these conversations, I think a lot of people think that people arguing online never gets to anything. It definitely does. I've definitely read disagreements online, and a few days later, maybe it finally clicked for me. You're not necessarily going to see the change in the comment section on a Facebook argument, but I think that the dialogue, I've had people come up to me after I've had a conversation like that and go, remember when you argued with that person a year ago? It really made me think about, this subject or another. And
totally agree with everything you said, Adrian.
It's an honest discourse. I appreciate it.
And me, I'm always the anti. I also think there's a lot of respect issues that people have in dialogue on the internet. And I think it has deteriorated people getting along. So
Lance, let me ask you directly. Are you optimistic about the future?
I'm more of a realist. I think there's some half full things that I like where we're going. And I think there's some things that we just, as a society, we don't really handle very well. And as a result of it is deteriorate the humanity of our world. And so I kind of put them in those two camps. And again, not to get political, but if you truly are a politician that believes in democracy, you got to have a fair election process to get to where both sides can believe that it was done correctly. I think the last election was just awful the way it was done. And so that makes me sad that somebody that would, whoever would win, they can come back and say, as a politician, I believe that everything was done fairly. I don't know. There's just too many weird coincidences that makes that if we don't fix it by future elections, you're going to divide this country on a very fixable, easy way.
Rob, what do you think? Are you optimistic about the future?
Yes. Generally, I think the optimism somewhat slightly outweighs the negative. Lance touched on it. There's a respect issue with the technology is incredible and the ability is incredible, but like the fact that people can, there's a little bit of a bigger voice for folks who have maybe a cowardly streak, in that they want to, like we talked about this before with your art, Barry, is, they'll have like, scathing review, but unless you actually engage, back in the day, if you told somebody they were a jerk to their face, then there was a repercussion to that of you might get smacked. Right. And now it's, I'm just hiding behind, my username and my keyboard. And that's the negative. I think that's what's dragging it down, that lack of respect of actually engaging. The flip side of that,
you look at your art, and you had that review, and the person never got to know you, and then you became friends after they got to know you.
Not only became friends. Here's the part I didn't.
But why'd you become friends after he gave his scathing review? And would he have given you a scathing review if he got to really know you? So he didn't really respect you or did his due diligence. And then after he did, it was a different review. So the
totally
respect
changed.
issue is that he really did his due diligence on getting to know where you were coming from. And as you talked about connecting with the artist, he never did.
Well, he actually did. He eventually got to know me and started.
No, that's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
it was after the review. He
Yeah.
didn't
Yes.
connect with you. So he gave you a review
Yeah,
without connecting with you. And you just, in previous episodes, just talked about how important it is to connect. Your art is connecting with the artist.
yes,
So again, the guy gave you a review basically not even knowing you
yep,
and not even knowing the purpose of your art.
yep,
There's a respect issue. You know, everybody has a voice now, but with that voice, there's a responsibility and a powerness to it. And there, you know, I think there's, back in the day, there's just some, you know, just a culture issue of having respect for other individuals and how you approach things and voice your opinion.
yeah.
And I think
totally.
we've lost that through
Yeah.
technology.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, let me ask another question quickly of you guys. Are you optimistic? Are you excited about contributing, about making a difference? Does that
Yeah,
turn you
absolutely.
on?
Yeah. That's the piece that gets me going, Barry, is
Yeah, me too.
when you build stuff, especially when you bring in others. I mean, there's been some collaboration, you know, between Adrian, Lance, and I, and I think you've seen a little bit of that as we've gotten to know you.
Sure.
That, man, like, it's incredible, the possibilities.
Yeah,
And that's the piece that, the optimism is through the roof,
me too.
you know. And you know, we can do better, and frankly, you know, we are within everything that we're trying to do, you know, with the little pinpricks that we are in the universe, so to speak. But it's amazing what you can do with when you start bringing a whole bunch of those people together. You know, there's enough shovels and you can move a mountain, right?
Yep, and that is exciting.
Yeah, it's fun stuff.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit. Barry, I love this question. I really
Yeah,
do.
me too.
What would you do if you knew you would not fail?
Yeah, it's such a great question. I've thought about it a lot, guys, and I've actually taken an interesting spin on my own mind. In a way, let me break it down. It's actually asking, what are you afraid of doing, right? It's kind of a trick question in that sense. It's asking, what are you afraid of doing?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've thought about this, and in a way, if you're doing what you love, if you're really enjoying it, you're not afraid of it. I mean, to be honest, failure is not part of my vocabulary. I don't think of failure because I'm doing what I love. I enjoy it. Failure never enters into it. So kind of a weird way of looking at this question is, if you're afraid of doing something, do you really enjoy it? Because I think if you enjoy it, failure is irrelevant. You know that if you stick to it, you're going to succeed, or something more awesome is going to come up. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
I do. So this may go a little bit left field. When I saw this question, you know, in our show prep here, you know what I would do actually is, it would take an incredible amount of resources to do this. I would actually fix our healthcare system.
Oh dear.
Oh my goodness.
All right, let's get back on track.
Lance,
here.
you
I was
okay?
thinking like
Drop
learn
right now.
guitar, and he's like,
No.
I'm gonna fix healthcare. Shoot,
No,
now I feel
I'd
stupid.
fix it. So anyway, I think I actually talked to a really smart doc one time, and he was imprinting on me this concept of, with enough resources, you could actually do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
or
my
if
question to
you,
guys. Would you
if you
enjoy
could-
doing that, Rob? Would you love doing that?
Oh man, that would be such a like that would be
Really?
so much fun.
All right, then you wouldn't be afraid of failing.
Yeah, right. It's
Well,
just resources.
if you created healthcare in a democratic society where the people who are using the resources can Yelp and choose who they go to, right? So you made it a massive Obamacare, but then with Obamacare, you could actually choose whether you go to Providence or Emmanuel or whatever. And then based on that, supply and demand, where you get into bedside manner and cost of doing things, and you reported all those numbers to the people that are using it, you would fix healthcare.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be, but it wouldn't be as profitable for the healthcare system.
Sure.
It would be driven by supply and demand.
Right.
The users would pay more for the services that you're getting that are better, and you don't have to wait in lines and stuff like that. But you got to get a system, a healthcare system that is a democracy, basically, or a democratic way, not a democratic way, but
a free market,
society, where the people get to choose and all that data gets reported.
Yeah. So Rob, you're not actually afraid of failing at that. I think it's more a case of, in the time that we have, what are we going to do with that?
Yeah.
Right.
And exactly. And it's an interesting, and it's probably very abstract for me. It's probably nothing that I'll ever do, but man, it would be fun to tackle.
No, it's a great question. It brings up a lot of interesting things.
So
I like this one. If you know you would not fail. So I often talk about it is, at some point in time in your life, and you look back at the most the events that made you most proud of yourself. It doesn't matter what other people think. At the end of the day, were you proud of yourself? It's tackling your demons, tackling the things you're afraid of, that challenges you, and that you face Darth Vader, face to face, like in, what was it, episode 2, where he went back and he had to go in that tunnel, and then he saw Darth Vader for the first time, and then he hit it and it was his face. He's tackling his demons.
Yeah.
When you look back at those things, that you have to face those demons, you have to overcome, you have to change. And when you do, and you look back in your life, that's when you're most proud.
Yeah. And I think if you really look at it, you do that because you enjoy doing it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it's the reward is the personal piece, is that reward is you try. What do we say? I never lose. I either win or I learn, right?
Yeah,
I do a lot of learning, right? learn, finally get the result. And then it's like, sweet, I got it. But if something isn't hard to do, and if you don't experience, not hitting the mark, it's not as satisfying. Right. Yeah. So I don't know. There's an element of that. This is, we could
have some. You're flipping our interview process, Barry. You're just like, what about you guys?
Interviewing us.
Your interview. This is a very beautiful my answer would be everything. I would just do absolutely everything. Sometimes I feel like that. There's a Sylvia Plath story about that we're so spoiled for choice, this is about a fig tree, and all the figs drop to the ground and they rot because you couldn't choose which fig to grab off. That's how I feel all the time. There's just so much, especially in the modern world where, look at us, I can buy a camera, it used to take an entire crew to shoot something. And now we can do this together, which is awesome. The amount of content that you can produce. Someone can watch someone shearing sheep in another country, or I love that the technology has made it so that we can have television shows about everything. I'm watching these guys build a Mini Cooper in New Zealand right now. That would have never been a television show. They would have never been syndicated. But it's great because they can produce hours and hours of content, and I can watch it because you no longer have to fit in a box. So what a fantastic world to be in.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So Barry, how are the arts helping create a better world for everyone?
Yeah, another great question. And
so somehow I feel like you're going to flip it around on us.
I'm waiting for us to come up with a crappy question.
Yeah.
Oh man. So better world. Questions. Yeah. So and for everyone. I mean, there's some unpacking here.
Yeah, there is a lot of unpacking, and we could riff on this stuff for a long time. So let me give you an example. This is kind of a mind-blowing, this is a true story. Well, I'm going to lay on you, okay? And this gets back to this question: how does it create a better world? Okay, one of my collectors was redoing their office, okay? And they hired a contractor. The contractor came into the office to start to work. He saw one of my paintings on the wall. And you're going to think I'm making this up. I'm not. She called me and told me this story. It stopped him in his tracks, and he said that he had an out-of-body experience, believe it or not. And he was gone, he experienced some kind of cosmic thing, and he came back, changed his life, and he had to leave for the day to think about it, to integrate it. Okay, how does that relate to helping create a better world? I think art can do amazing things for people. Okay, it creates things that we can't anticipate. And again, I think sports, if you read The Rise of Superman, it's back to that. The arts, including sports, Lance, are helping create a better world. It's universal. Okay, it transcends. The key here is it transcends political and religious boundaries. That's how it creates a better world.
So you're tying that back into, the optimistic, the future, they're
related.
Let's leave it a better place than we found it,
Yeah.
Okay. How does so that's a pretty incredible story. And
I know.
That was obviously very, very real for, transformational experience for that one person.
Yeah.
Is there an element of this for where you can affect it at the macro level? I mean, there's only 7 billion of us here.
8 now. We just crossed the 8 line.
Did we just? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, it's wild.
So, I mean, that's a lot, but is there an application for that?
Well, I would say that, as each of us become really good at what we do, we're contributing in our own way, contributing some inspiration, contributing some motivation, creating some togetherness. That's my answer to that.
And then, what's next? And let's pull it back in from, I might have rabbit holed you out to 8 billion people, right? So what's that look like for you? What's the next piece of creativity or the next step? And this might be very, general, because we don't always know exactly what it looks like.
No, this podcast is actually a part of the answer to your question, is getting my work out to as many people as possible. I mean, wouldn't you guys agree that you'd like to get your work out to as many people as possible, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's podcast, obviously. I know you're growing in the social media marketing area. I know that you're working with some different professionals in the art world that are, influential, so to speak, and they're spreading the word, Barrymackart, that sort of thing.
Well, the guy, David Emmons, he's really good at helping artists in particular. I mean, he works with a lot of different businesses, but he's really good at advertising online. He's got that mastered to a science, where if you get your website right, he knows how to pump it up and reach literally millions of people every day for not that much.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So is that the direction, is taking what inspires you and what you're creating, and then basically evangelizing it across the universe?
Yeah, you can look at it that way. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I like
Why
it.
not? I mean, we all want to do that, really. We want to get it out to as many people as possible. We want to feel like we're making a difference. Why get up?
Right.
I think there's that mistake, right? People make of the percentage based, Barry, you got how many followers you got on your social? You said 80,000 something right now.
That's around 80,000. Yeah.
1660, that's the population of the United States was 75,000 people. So you have literally more people than the once population of the entire country that we live in. I think there's that mistake we make where we go, well, there's 8 billion people. If I reach 10,000, that's nothing. No, that's 10,000 people, that's still 10,000 people. And regardless of how many humans exist out there. So I think it's great that your art has touched so many people. And I think for me, the answer to this question is just breaking the paradigm and pushing the boundaries, further out. I think of comedy, things that you weren't supposed to joke about change every year. And then we look back on the stuff that was Richard Pryor was so offensive. Now it just seems like that's daytime TV at this point, and that's the cool thing though, is now it opens it up for the rest of us, to be a little weirder. There's things that about the way that I look, I know that, I probably would have gotten my butt kicked 100 years ago trying to walk down the street, but or maybe people would think, he's got some piercings in his lip. He's probably a criminal. He's got tattoos, and now it's everybody's got tattoos,
Yeah.
No, I totally agree, Adrian. I think you're right on. And, you know, the opposite of that is if we change one life, that's cool too.
Yeah. That's very cool.
Powerful stuff. I wish we had more time, Barry. Barry Mack, Barrymackart. Tell us where we can find you, Barry.
Yeah, you can find me at Sea Gallery in Bridgeport area, around Portland, Oregon area. My website, barrymackart.com. You can email me, barrymackart@gmail.com, and my phone number, 971-348-1890.
Awesome. And I know you're on Instagram, on Facebook.
Yeah.
Barry, again, thank you so much for your time. I know it's valuable, and you have expressed that value very well in this period of time. So
Thank you.
Thanks for making some art with us, bud.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me. Awesome.
We're the Get Rich Slow podcast crew. You can catch what we're doing next locally at roi-fa.com/events. We've got Learn and Grows, Sip and Mingles, a summer bash coming up, and soon I can stop saying this, but some photos with Santa on November 12th. So check out that website. You'll see what's coming up next. Come connect with us and reach out to us. Let us know what you like about our show and what you'd like to hear next.
Yep. Thank you so much, Barry.
Thank you, Barry.
Thanks, Adrian. I enjoyed this series.
Me too.
Looking forward to a follow-up in the next 6 to 12 months, Barry.
Great.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you all for listening.
Catch you next
Take
time,
care.
folks.